At 37,000 feet, the plane stopped obeying the rules. The autopilot shut off without warning. The instruments began to contradict each other. And the flight manual, the book designed to save lives, suddenly had no answers. What happened next would force one pilot to break every rule in aviation and somehow survive. The flight was supposed to be routine, an overnight cargo run. No passengers, no weather concerns, no reason for tension. The captain had flown this route dozens of times, and the aircraft had performed flawlessly during pre-flight checks. Everything was normal, until the first warning chimed. Not loud, not urgent, just subtle enough to make the captain look up. Then came the second alarm: autopilot disconnect. The aircraft lurched, just enough to be unmistakable. The first officer straightened in his seat. That wasn't turbulence. The captain felt it too. The controls responded with hesitation, like the aircraft was pausing before obeying commands. This wasn't turbulence. This was something else. Hydraulic pressure began to fluctuate. Navigation data froze, then jumped. Altitude and airspeed no longer agreed with each other. Air traffic control called in, calm and professional. Confirm level flight. The captain hesitated for half a second before responding. Negative. We are experiencing control irregularities. It was the first rule he broke. The first officer reached for the emergency checklist, flipping pages quickly. The captain didn't look at the checklist. Instead, he reached overhead and pulled the circuit breaker connected to the flight computer. The cockpit went quiet. "What did you just do?" the first officer asked. "The computer was fighting us," the captain said. "I'm not letting it fly anymore." What the captain did next was never taught in training. Without automation, the aircraft felt raw. Half the instruments were unreliable. Numbers disagreed. Warnings came and went. Every display that pilots were trained to trust now felt questionable. "Which one do we believe?" the first officer asked. "None of them," the captain said. "We fly the airplane." He listened to the engines, felt the pressure through the controls, trusted gravity instead of data. Every modern aviation rule warned against flying this way, but following those rules now could be fatal. No checklist covered this situation. The weather radar flickered just long enough to reveal a massive storm system ahead, towering clouds stretching high above their altitude. Air traffic control recommended an immediate course change. The captain refused. They flew straight into the storm. Rain hammered the fuselage like gravel. Lightning flashed around the cockpit. Turbulence slammed the aircraft violently, tossing it from side to side. Cargo straps groaned. The airframe creaked. The first officer shouted over the noise, "We shouldn't be in here." "I know," the captain replied calmly, "but we can't be anywhere else." Then just as suddenly as it began, the chaos stopped. They burst into smooth air, surrounded by towering clouds glowing faintly in the lightning. Alive. This decision would later shock investigators. Fuel flow began increasing unexpectedly. Engine temperatures climbed. The nearest certified airport was still too far away. Air traffic control called again, urgency creeping into their voices. "Are you declaring an emergency?" The captain said no. Another rule broken. Instead, he noticed something else on the map: a long, abandoned military runway. Unlit, uncertified, forgotten. "We are landing there," he said. The first officer stared at him. "That runway isn't approved. It's not even in our database." "Approved or not," the captain said, "it's the only place we are touching down." At this point, survival came down to instinct. The runway appeared as a darker strip against darker land. No lights, no guidance systems, just alignment, memory, and judgment. The failing engine was shut down manually. The aircraft descended fast, too fast. The ground rushed toward them. The captain flared early, holding the nose just above the surface. The wheels slammed down hard. One bounce, then another. The captain held it steady. Brakes screamed. Tires smoked. The end of the runway rushed closer. These were the most dangerous seconds of the entire flight. Then silence. They stopped just short of the runway's end. The first officer exhaled. "We are alive." "Yes," the captain said quietly. "We are." Investigators arrived later. They reviewed data, interviews, and procedures. The conclusion was unsettling. If the crew had followed standard protocol, the aircraft would not have survived. There were no headlines, no public praise. The captain returned to flying after a quiet suspension, carrying a lesson few pilots ever learn. Sometimes the rules save your life, and sometimes breaking every rule is the only reason anyone lives.